You're knowing what you're wanting, sort of. You like desire? We like it when you identify your desire and you're consciously aware of what it is. So the trick, it's not a trick, it's a skill. The skill is to have desire that you're not trampling with doubt. To have desire that you believe. That's just the best. A desire you don't believe, not so pleasant, is it? So it seems logical, well, I will just get rid of the desire. Not so much. Because once life has caused you to identify a desire, that's a strong momentum. And it really is, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it, the path of least resistance to line up with the desire rather than to rail against it. What we want to encourage in these hours that we are together is an understanding of how you be in this universe. We want you to remember that you are source energy, mostly. Even though you're in this physical body, the non-physical part of you is still dominant. And as you are in this physical body, with source flowing to you and through you, you are continuing the eternal life that you are all about. So even when you don't know it, even when you feel bad, even when it feels like things aren't going well, source energy is flowing to you in the only way it can be described is an unconditional love, no matter what. This source energy, the same energy that creates worlds, flowing to you. But how you allow yourself to be in that energy, we'd like you to feel this, it's like a permeation of environment all around you of well-being and appreciation. But if for whatever reason you've decided to be mad at yourself or someone else, then you're not allowing, hear this, we've never said this to you before, you are not allowing in your moments of negative emotion the unconditional love to be reached by you because of the conditions that you are placing. Can you hear that? Only you can block the unconditional love with the conditions that you place. These are my conditions. I don't like that person very much. Or that didn't go well for me. Or I lived something that was unpleasant. Or somebody in politics is doing something that I deem inappropriate. So as you place conditions on your love, all that happens is you prevent yourself from receiving the always flowing, ever surrounding, always, if you will allow it, penetrating love, clarity, abundance of well-being that is flowing to you at all times. So this gathering, we've called it a lot of different things. The science of deliberate creation, because we wanted you to be deliberate about what you were thinking. The art of allowing, because we wanted you to figure out how to be in that soft place of allowing this energy to flow. And these days, what we're really wanting to put emphasis on is you walking around all day in this body, offering a vibration which equals your point of attraction. So you are establishing a vibrational environment, a vibrational climate, a vibrational, it's like how the scientists prepare the petri dish so that they will be able to introduce something to it and grow in it just what they want to. You sort of kind of get that. You've got your own environmental vibrational thing going on. And what that amounts to is the degree to which you allow or don't allow the good stuff that source is flowing to you. That's it. So if you can get that when your kids misbehave and you shout at them because they deserve it, by your opinion and most of the books you've read, then what's happening to you in that moment is you are reacting to their behavior, not to your practiced environment. Source never does that to you. Source never responds to your behavior. That's why Source's love is unconditional. But when you respond to someone's behavior or to a circumstance or an event, rather than to the practiced climate that you've established, that's when life gets kind of confusing, because that happens and you respond to it, and when you respond to it, it affects your climate. And when it affects your climate, it affects your point of attraction, so other things like it come to you, and then you start believing that this is just the way it is, because it shows itself to you that way over and over and over again. So why wouldn't you believe it? That's the way it is. They would consider you to be in denial, fabricating things, making things up. And we say, yeah, do that. Tell it the way you want it to be. Practice the environment. Create your vibrational reality. Create your vibrational climate. And then watch what comes. Esther remembers watching Groundhog Day the first time. Her father's birthday is on Groundhog Day, so Groundhog Day has always been fun in their family. Then the movie Groundhog Day came out. Have you seen it? If you're alive on this planet, you have. Where every day starts over again. And the guy just got better and better at navigating through the day as he remembered what happened yesterday and adjusted to it. And that's, in a very bulky sense, what we're encouraging you to understand about your vibrational climate. You've created the climate whether you know that you have or not, and everything that's coming to you is coming in response to your vibration, because that's the way this universe runs. Law of attraction says that which is likened to itself is drawn, and there's no law other than that law that is affecting your experience. You get what you are thinking about whether you want it or not. That's just the way it is. So what you've practiced to be your vibrational countenance relative to money, relative to relationships, relative to home or business or life, relative to every subject in the world, what you've practiced yourself into thought about equals your vibrational environment, and then the universe, the world, the people around you, the circumstances and events, they can only show you what you've created. So everything that comes to you isn't about what anybody else is doing. It's about what you've got going on vibrationally. And of course, we acknowledge what you've got going on vibrationally is a lot about what you're observing out there, because you're often letting what you're observing out there affect what you're doing here. But you don't have to. There's this momentum thing that happens, though. Once it gets going, it's just easier to let it go that way, because it's difficult to turn it around. So we want to talk about momentum. We want to talk about deciding how you want to feel. We want to show you how to get this vibrational climate around yourself in an attitude that you'll like what flows into it. Because when you're in this vibrational place that is in sync with who you really are, your emotions raise from pure satisfaction to true passion and enthusiasm for life. You feel clear and sure and interested in life. You feel fun. Your timing is good. You feel vitality. Everything about your world feels good to you once you deliberately prepare your vibrational environment to be the receiver of the things that it must receive, because law of attraction will not give to you something that you have not practiced. We always like to put this analogy in early in our conversations with you. Sometimes it is as if you are saying to us, Abraham, I've jumped out of an airplane and I don't have a parachute. Would you please advise me as what to do now? And we always say, hang on, it will be over in a little while. Because there is a momentum at that stage that there is not likely an action that you're going to find that is going to dramatically change the outcome, because you waited too long before you addressed it. You let the momentum get going too far. Well, no big deal. The momentum will peter out. And when you sleep tonight, the momentum will stop altogether. And in the morning when you awaken, you have the option of beginning your momentum in a way that creates a vibrational atmosphere that you will like what comes to it. So since we've been talking like this, Esther has been thinking a lot about creating her vibrational atmosphere. And she's saying to herself often, and it will serve you well too, I want to respond to what's happening out there in the world, or happening to me, happening anywhere that I'm involved with it or observing it. I want to respond from this practiced place of alignment, not from this reactionary place. And really, that's what the art of allowing is all about. It's deciding how you want to feel. It's understanding that you are extensions of Source. It's understanding the way Source always bees with you. In fact, do you know that the only reason that you can even feel what you would call negative emotion, whether you call it fear or rage or embarrassment or anger, every negative emotion that you feel is only possible because you are feeling a way that the Source within you does not feel about the same subject. In other words, you're setting up a frequency that's different from the frequency of Source. So really what negative emotion is, here's the clearest way that we can ever explain it to you. Here you are standing in your world, in your body, in your beingness, and Source is surrounding you with well-being. And when you let yourself be the receiver of that well-being, of that clarity, of that love, of that appreciation, of that abundance, then you'll feel great. But when you start thinking thoughts that prevent it from coming, that's what negative emotion is. It's your resistance to the natural well-being, to the unconditional love, to the unconditional prosperity, to the unconditional clarity that is flowing your way all day, every day, if you will figure out some way to let it in. So that's what we want to help you do. Figure out ways to let it in. What do you want to talk about? You now know everything we know, and the rest of it is really up to just practicing it out there in the world. You just got to get out there, have an experience, and then acknowledge, oh, that experience matches the climate that I established. Do I want to adjust the climate, or did I like it? If you liked it, adjust nothing. If you didn't like it, adjust it. You got to be asking how. We'll talk about it all day. What do you want to talk about?